with me. He's the guy, one of the guys, but the guy behind Terrene Tires and Esker Cycles. You can go to terrenetires.com and eskercycles.com. So the whole point of this is, first, I'm on my phone right now. I'm just going to I'm going to verify that we are indeed streaming properly. And we are there. So that's awesome. So that's good. Last time we tried Facebook, it didn't connect properly. So who knows? All right. So people out there, Tim, we talked about this. I've been on this kind of push to do something different, get people on, talk face to face, see people's faces, just put a human aspect to things. And so we were chatting yesterday, and I was like, all right, you're going to be one of the first guinea pigs for this thing. It's going to be a Tetris challenge. But the whole point of this is just to put, especially mountain bike people, in kind of a situation that they wouldn't have been otherwise. Like, when have we ever done this? Right? I mean, look, we had this screen of Tetris thing on here, but the point is, I did cook up some questions. So while we are doing this, people, you can also put, Tim, there is also a chat on the side too. So if anybody does pop in and says something, they can just leave a comment in the Facebook page, and that will show up on the side. So this is pretty slick. This is actually a really good platform that I think we're going to keep using. It has been a little bit buggy, and they are working on some things, and they do have some different, a different level that's going to offer some cool stuff. So, yeah, nice. So I'm just going to put a chat there. Hi, everyone. Okay. So nice. That said, have you ever done this before? Have you ever done like this kind of thing where you got on and played a video game with somebody?
No, no, this will be good. But I've had my share of practice at Tetris, so maybe I'll be good. Who knows?
Okay. Maybe I'll be bad. So that was, yeah. So that was my question, people. So here's a scoop. We might play a few more, depending on how fast it goes or not. But best of 5. So Tim and I, best of 5. All right. And if we keep talking and there's more fun, we'll just do best of 7 or something. I don't know. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section. This video will be on Facebook as well afterwards. So if people are watching, they can always comment there too. But what we're going to do, Alex Schoenig.
That's my buddy Alex from Germany. He's
from Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, go Tim. All right. So thanks for checking in, Alex. This is, I want to keep it. That's the whole point though, right?
Yeah.
I want to keep it fun. I want to keep it light. And this is what you guys do a lot. You and Odia drive around the country and like, just keep it light and fun and talk and serve food and make mixed drinks at the Fat Bike Berkey, for example. So it's like, and your whole gang is there, right? That's the whole point of the thing is. And I think, so this is my little rant before we get started. I mean, it's pretty clear during this period, and we talk about this. I mean, we've had these conversations. We were talking about it yesterday, but it's pretty obvious at these points in time, like this total shit show, what we have going on right now from many different angles, right? It sucks, but it just makes you focus on things that you kind of dig out the bullshit and focus on things that are really important to you. Right.
Right.
And one of those is, it's just like, we forget sometimes, we get behind computers and we get so caught up in the process of doing all the stuff we do. We forget we're all just humans. And if this doesn't bring out a human side of us, I don't know what does. So,
right. And I think it's actually been encouraging to see the human side come out, because, I think for the last, 20 years since we kind of had the last, we'll say, unfortunate reality gut check, we society kind of went a way of very individualistic and, kind of say crapping on each other. And this is a great check to bring people back together. Like, great thing yesterday, yesterday we had to announce that our 2 races for the year, the Hungry Bear 100 and the Schwalmgen 100, were canceled for the year and just moved to next year. And, we braced for backlash. But, our reasons were that it wasn't about the racers. It was about bringing people to these rural communities where you live then. And them not being prepared for that in this situation. And so, putting it in that context of outside of the self and into the community, everybody, no negative comments at all. Every single participant embraced what we were doing, which was really good to see. I think in this whole thing, the good thing that's going to come out of this is a lot of people thinking back more to how their actions affect their community as opposed to themselves. And that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah. And you know, the other thing with that event too is as somebody does events, it's like you have that you could postpone the event, but then we're also in the situation where postponing it, we don't know what rules and regulations are going to be after that too. We could postpone it and give people say, hey, you're going to do it August 15th or October 15th. Then there's 18 other events. And then there's potential for, even if we do open this up and things get back to even 10% of normal, you know, we're kind of out doing our stuff,
Right.
big events, it's going to be questionable whether or not you can have a certain amount of people. So it's really hard. And the best thing in a lot of cases, just say, all right, change the registration. It says 2021. Let's go gung ho next year and make it a thing. So
yeah, it's the best we can do. I mean,
you're gonna win some, lose some on this one. We're all kind of just do what you can. All right. So okay, I have a list of questions here which I gave you.
Cool.
Before we get going on here, and I was going to ask you, are you any good at Tetris? Is that a full bar behind you? It looks like a full.
It's my stockpile. if you want a bit of a tour, here we go.
Yes, yeah. What do we have here?
Well, basically, what we have here is I drink whiskey and I drink gin. So, pretty good collection of some Willett's Rocknar is a really good local Minnesota whiskey that I like. And then there's gins from all over the world because my buddy Alex tuned in is a gin aficionado with me. So it's German gins and some other great stuff. And then most important. Outside of
so Tim, hang on a second.
Yeah,
I think your beard is messing with your mic.
I gotta hold my mic. But like I was saying, then the most important thing is right here. We step outside of the gin and whiskey scope, and we have brandy.
Okay.
When you make an old fashioned, and you're from Wisconsin, it has to be made with brandy. There's no other alternative. So yeah, basically up front here is old fashioned materials. That's where I've been resorting to a lot lately.
Yeah, no, that's good. So okay, so you want to get this started?
Yeah.
Okay, are you any good at Tetris?
Moderately good. Actually,
did you spend a lot of time when you were a kid?
No.
Did you spend a lot of time when you were a kid Nintendo?
No, actually, as kids, we did not have video game consoles as kids. My parents refused to get for us, and we were outside kids, which I am really thankful for. But then, kind of as a just a killing time thing, because I travel and sit in airports a lot, whatnot, I have Tetris on my phone. So I've gotten good at it. Maybe.
Okay.
My version.
All right. Okay, so let's get going. I'll crank up a new game here, and people, we'll start a new game. People, if you do have any questions, feel free right now. You can just throw them on there. Fixie Dave is on. Alex is on there. So thanks, guys, for checking it out. All right.
Hey, Fixie. How's it going?
New game here.
All right.
Okay. You see it? Okay.
Yep.
So people following along, we have Tim on the right-hand side there, and I'm on the left. And Tim, the only thing is it's going to tell you how many lines you have remaining, but you won't see how many I have remaining.
Right.
So I don't know how many you have, and you don't know how many I have. So you can feel free to tell me or not. It's strategy. It's strategy in there.
Right.
But all right. So are we going now here? Good. You comfortable?
Oh yeah. I'm good.
So all right. Questions. What was your first real bike?
My first real bike was a Schwinn Moab. Before that, I had some other mountain bikes before that, but they were basically jalopies of Walmart bikes and things like that as a kid. So then the first mountain bike I bought,
first real bike.
Exactly. So the first bike that I paid my own money for, saved up for, all that was a Schwinn Moab in 1998. It was red and black, so the Schwinn Moab 2 came with full Shimano LX components at that time, including LXD brakes, a RockShox Indy. And man, I think at that time it was $950. Had a chromoly steel frame, and I was so proud of that thing. And it actually stayed with me for quite a long time. I think over the years I may have repainted it a few times, things like that. So yeah, it was a pretty awesome bike.
Okay, yeah, for that time it was a lot of
right.
That's a lot of money. Yeah. because we were talking about it last year at Dirt Rag. We had Martin on, who actually now does a show. He's working on kind of revamping that. But
Nice.
and you started geeking out on all the vintage bike stuff.
Oh yeah,
you're big into all that stuff.
Yeah, I don't collect them or anything like that, like some folks do. But I've been in the bike industry since 1998, essentially. And so, and of course, it's my hobby and passion. So,
yeah,
I especially remembering a lot of stuff. Some of the guys go out and they buy all of these vintage bikes and the whole market for it and all kinds of stuff. I don't do that because I also firmly believe that some of the new technology we've come up with is
pretty good,
really awesome stuff, right? So, so I mostly spend my money on modern bikes, but oh my god, I am doing horrible.
Oh my gosh! For somebody that you're gonna ruin, you're not even gonna make it. This is the first. We've been testing this.
It's like one of those things. Like you do good at Tetris until you make the one fatal mistake, and then the one fatal mistake just grows and grows and grows. And
all right, so we got Cedar's on, Evan Larson. So Evan, awesome. To answer your question, which I will in a second. So this is kind of not an awesome website. Like I haven't figured out how to customize where it says on top where it says Ben and Tim.
Well, basically, guys, the one who just lost miserably is me.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for joining in, you guys.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start a new one here. And just to let you know, Tim, like I have a big screen kind of behind my camera, so I kind of look like that. So I'm looking both. So cool. I'm not like
my only camera is on a laptop, so I'm actually sitting.
You're looking at it. Yeah.
I'm sitting in my dining room with my laptop on top of a box of Solomon shoes and a Himalayan salt plate to get my camera at the right level.
All right. So you had a whole thing. Okay, let's do a new one here. All right. So we got.
I'm gonna do better this time.
All right. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. So you like to travel a lot, like you did mention with the Tetris situation. So you guys and both of you and Odia go traveling a lot all over the place. Do you have a favorite destination? I'll give you up to two. Do you have a favorite destination? Either one of you, like, is it the same place? Do you kind of both prefer one or the other? Like, what does that look like for you guys as far as favorite destination?
Yeah, so I guess, mountain bike related, it's
separately, maybe just you too.
Sure. Yeah. It becomes a little cliche, but I am attached to it. I've been going for 20 years and I absolutely love Moab. And so for me, going to Moab is the great vacation. And so Odia and I both like going there because almost every year, it was supposed to be last week and we ended up canceling it for this year for all the reasons we all know. Now, we go out to Moab for a week with our truck and our bikes, and we either we go off in the desert. Sometimes we do the White Rim. Sometimes we just go riding in places. Sometimes we just go camping, and so that's kind of our thing. Odia is not so much into mountain biking, but definitely is into being outside, and so we actually have kind of a pretty good thing there going where. A lot of times she'll take the truck. We'll ride bikes, and she'll be driving if we're on like the White Rim or a bike packing trail like Cocopelli's or something. She'll be following us in the truck with cold beer for after the ride. And so that's our big one for mountain biking. And I'm really sad that I didn't get that this year. That's kind of that's a big thing. But and then the other major one for us, it's a little bit simpler, but your home trails, Ben, of the Chequamegon National Forest. It's also what I consider my hometown, and so I don't really consider it.
Yeah, your parents are like super volunteers around here.
Yeah, my parents still live. They live 4 miles from the Rock Lake Trailhead. So that's pretty awesome, and. So I don't really consider it, a destination because it's more going home for me. But we get to spend lots of time there, lots of time riding, and feel pretty fortunate about that. As well as Odi and I, what we like to do. Aside from cycling, kind of our joint sport is kayaking or some other water sports, paddle sports. So it's really good to do those up in that area.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have a question here. So Alex, Alex is asking, Tim, besides mountain biking, what was the most important invention in the past 30 years?
Oh my goodness, most important invention. So I'm trying to think of just a 30-year span, because I mean, if we really want to get we talk about like further out, right? We talk about vaccines and shit like that, right? But 30 years, I would say the thing that probably changed the world the most and is the most important to the world as we know it today, last 30 years, was the capacitive touchscreen, which basically is what powers all of our smartphones, credit card processing machines. Basically, powers the world today. Those are without those, our world would be drastically different.
We go back another 5 years and just say the internet, like mainstream internet?
Right. Yeah. I mean, could you imagine where we would be?
Can you imagine it now?
Like with a pandemic like this. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to get the word out as fast, so the pandemic would probably be worse. And B, I mean, we're already suffering an enormous economic loss from this. Can you imagine how many more people would have been laid off without the internet? Without the ability to work from home.
Yeah. So okay, so then along those lines, hey Joe Tonsager's in there.
Oh, right on.
So let's say in mountain biking, that's a popular question. What would you say is one of the biggest I guess inventions or improvements or additions to mountain biking in the last 30 years?
Yeah, and I'm going to say, I'm not going to say disc brakes, because in mountain biking, disc brakes are just an adaptation of something that existed somewhere else. We finally kind of made them work for mountain biking, so not necessarily an invention, more of a technology or something. I think the pure invention that's really changed mountain biking the most is the dropper seat post. It opened up how people are riding. It made people, but the biggest thing is what we're seeing now, especially with what we're doing with Esker, is the dropper seat post changed how we design bikes as a whole. I mean, if you look at, there's this new wave of geometry happening in bikes of these super slack head angles and super steep seat angles. And where that's actually coming from, the reason it didn't, wasn't something that existed in the past, is that. Oh, can you hear me?
Completely. Oh yeah, I can hear you. I'm sorry. Tetris.
No, Tetris.
Keep going.
Basically, the dropper seat post is what's allowing us to design in that way, and make these bikes kind of do different things, right? So, if you were to either ride or we were to try and design these bikes now that we're doing with these, super slack head angles and super steep seat angles, and you ran a standard seat post, and you went and tried to descend on that bike, it'd be sketchy and scary as shit going downhill, right? Just absolutely crazy. And so basically what the dropper seat post has done is given us the ability to make these bikes that more or less have two modes, up and down. And the geometry is different between the two because of, essentially being able to drop the seats out of the way and stand.
Right. So that leads into what you have going on with Esker. You want to just talk about Esker then right away? So people,
sure.
If you haven't heard of Esker Cycles, you can go to eskercycles.com and check out what's going on there. But that leads into what you have going with Esker. So you want to talk about that right away? Since
is exactly
design primary.
Yeah. So we're a new brand.
And Tim, by the way, it's not as easy talking and playing Tetris as you thought, is it?
Oh gosh, no. This is
this is why when I thought this idea up, I was like, oh, this is perfect, because this is what it's going to turn into. So thanks for being the guinea pig on this.
Oh no,
I hope people can when they see it, they can appreciate the fact that a bike company owner is on here doing this kind of thing. I think that says a lot. So thank you.
And it's fun. Oh yeah, no problem.
Oh,
yeah,
I know, but sorry, go ahead.
With Esker, what we're trying to do is, there's a lot of small brands out there. We think there's really some really good innovative brands out there that are doing some cool things. And we had our way of doing it too. So we're a group of right now. We're growing pretty fast. We're a group of 6 guys. We all ride bikes, and it's kind of everybody's dream, right, to own your own bike company. So that's what we did, and basically having kind of the freedom as a new brand. Oh my gosh, I'm losing again. Right there we go. We'll clear that out.
Funny.
Is we're trying some things. Kind of the mantra that we're doing with our bikes is we're trying things that basically big brands couldn't do, and whether it's something that the market is too small for them, and I just lost again. Basically, whether it's the
start a new one in a second.
Yeah, right. It's all good. Whether the market's too small for them to worry about, or the idea is too much of a risk and outside of what they normally sell. There's still customers that want to try new things and be kind of on the leading edge of how we're designing product and what we're doing. So in that, we work with Dave Weigel on the Orion Suspension, which is a new unique suspension that's patented and designed for just one-by drivetrains. So it really optimizes the suspension performance you can get out of a bike that's only one-by, as opposed to taking other designs and just making the bike one-by only, widening the pivots or whatever. This is actually a suspension design that's for single chainring only and optimized for single chainring. As well as we use kind of geometries that are pushing to the forefront too, like we also just talked about there. And then going into our hardtails, for one is when we talk about riding a hardtail, we think the best material for a hardtail is steel, period, right? Like there's all kinds of debates about what different things work and whatnot, but we think if you're going to ride a hardtail, steel is the best option. And so we do that. And so to have kind of this eclectic product mix, as well as just have steel in general, you don't see steel in any of the big brands really anymore. That's kind of what we're doing, is building these bikes that we feel are missing from the market. And on top of that, because we can do that because we're small, we don't need to be selling 100,000 units a year to stay in business. We only need to be selling a few hundred because we're a small team, and so then we get to then play bikes. And hopefully, as we basically grow and continue through that, and as we play bikes, we'll come up with new and better things that'll help people have better bike rides in the future too.
Yeah. So okay, new game, and do you have a T-shirt that says Esker Cycles? We play bikes.
We should, right? That's a good one.
You see Paige right here? Hey Paige, what do you need? Yeah, do it. So Paige, I'm in my official mountain bike radio headquarters here, which is the basement. Like I have my own shop in here, and Paige is they're obviously home from school, so she's asking, basically she can get whatever she wants right now.
I was talking with a really good friend of mine on the phone last night who has a 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old recently learned how to drive an ATV, and basically same thing as I was talking to him on the phone, like constantly
life lessons right there.
Basically having to yell at either, yeah, go ahead, go do another lap, or I hear in the background, brr, brr, brr. It's like, oh man. I'm sure you guys all have your hands full. Any of you that have kids home from school right now.
Yeah, but that's part of being a parent, man.
Exactly.
Have it. I mean, this is something you do with all summer. I mean, that's part of being a parent. You don't plan on these situations, but like if I can't take care of my kids and teach them some stuff over 2 months, like right. I have bigger issues,
Yeah.
But and we're lucky because our kids are good. They learn. They're smart kids and they learn pretty well and stuff. So like, I don't feel bad about taking them out fishing for 3 days instead of doing class stuff, or like just, you know what, go ride your bikes this afternoon. I don't really care. Like that's fine. As long as we, you get your reading in, your math or whatever. Oh shoot.
Right.
So Dan, do you know how to circumcise a whale? Not sure if there's some inside joke on that one.
I don't know, but so Dan's Dan's a fellow Chequamegon National Forest patron like ourselves. I talked
to Dan for probably half an hour standing at the Berkey Expo. He bought some raffle tickets. So thank you.
Oh, cool. Cool. You know, Dan,
it's a pretty big canvas.
I'm just gonna answer your question very directly. No, I have no experience or education in circumcising whales.
I think that's good.
Right?
Unless somebody's out there as a marine biologist and would answer why you would even consider that.
Yeah, in fact, that's probably the question is, does anybody actually have that knowledge? Or has that ever even been performed? Has that ever actually been performed? I'm going to say no.
Pretty sure not. Okay, so with Esker, you want to talk a little bit about the models you guys have? Because we talked kind of about the company, but people might not know.
Sure. Yeah. So right now, what we have, we got 2 excellent models to the market right now. Our LCAT is a carbon fiber 150 millimeter travel suspension bike using that Orion suspension from Dave Weigel. It has 27.5 wheels, full carbon frame. Like I said, with what the Orion suspension is, it's one by only. It's a pretty awesome bike because it has a lot of this new geometry we're talking about. So even as a, it's a large bike, right? 150 millimeter travel, 160 in the front. But what we really are happy with this kind of suspension and what can be done is, and the geometry is, it pedals like like any other shorter travel suspension bike when you're on flats or going uphill. So, and in fact, when you aim it up really steep hills, that geometry is really awesome, where it basically scoots up steep hills in a really awesome way. So yeah, we're really proud of it and what it can do, and it is as it's one of those things where our primary marketing is going to events and getting people to test ride it, right? So I think kind of a reflective of our personalities and who we are. We're not making some enormous marketing push and taking out ads and telling the world how our bike is revolutionary and it's going to completely change their world. More or less what we're trying to do is show them that and let people experience it for themselves. So we go to all these events and let them and do test rides and whatnot. And pretty much everyone that rides it goes, "Oh yeah, I can see that. It's awesome," which is really awesome to hear. That we're slowly converting people as they test ride our product. Yeah, that's kind of how we do that. So LCAT, that's LCAT. And then we also have Hayduk. Hayduk is a steel hardtail that is kind of it has a bit of a slack geometry, a short rear end, takes 27.5 wheels, a little bit of a longer travel fork at 120, but not extremely long travel for a hardtail. And it's kind of it's a steel hardtail, and we basically wanted with a hardtail, people who are buying hardtails, they essentially want durability, a less maintenance, flexibility, and so the bike's pretty awesome in what it can do. It has mounts on it for bolt-in frame bags, so it can be a bike packing bike. It has adjustable and replaceable dropouts, so it can go to single speed. It can go to 142 or 148 spacing. It can take, it can also be adaptable if somebody SRAM decides to come out with a new derailleur hanger in the future. You don't have to get an all new frame. You'll be able to just, we'll just make a plate for that bike, and your bike won't be obsolete. So yeah, it's super versatile that way. And then of course it's made from steel because when people have a hardtail, they generally want a hardtail is kind of that bike you just always have there. It's always working. It's always ready, and you can pull it out of the garage and go riding, put it away wet, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's why we choose steel, because it gives you that excellent ride quality as well as has that just insane durability. And sure, I mean, we don't make any apologies for it. We know that you're paying maybe a 1 pound weight penalty over what some other products you could be riding could be, but we think it's worth it. So Yeah, those are our two models now.
So Tim, hang on a second. So in the process of typing these things, I somehow went to spectator mode.
Oh no.
So I think I might have to send another we're gonna count that as a win for you because I think you're ahead of me. Let's do this. Edit. Hang on. Cancel. Type. Yeah, there's little. This is like the best option I've found. Let's just do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you a new link, but we can keep talking while we're at it.
Yeah, it's good. Well, then where I was gonna say with Esker there is, you know, Esker, we are, and so we, you know, we are definitely intending to grow, obviously, outside of those two models, and we've got quite a few things in the pipe right now that we're going to. I think, like, you know, now it's a normal story, like every small business in this current situation. We're, you know, having to reevaluate our plans because, like we said, our biggest marketing tool is we don't want to just, you know, make big marketing pushes and crazy full page ads and stuff and tell people what to believe. We want them to just write it and believe it themselves. And so essentially with events, what we're looking at now, kind of the reality we're hearing through the industry, talking to other brands and friends that we know, is that mountain bike demo events are probably canceled at least through August at this point. And so yeah, we're hoping to get a couple new products to market this summer. But we're constantly reevaluating right now when we're actually going to bring them to market because, you know, without the ability of taking them somewhere so people can ride them, you know, we can't just put it out there. So
right,
yeah.
So I sent you a new link in Facebook Messenger, so you have the newest.
Okay.
Right. So you should be showing up there soon. So
I'll kill that one.
Yeah.
And go to Facebook. All right.
It seems to get messy when I click over and start typing on the chat room. So people, if I don't do that, I'll see your message and I'll mention it. Alex Schoenig. The Hey Duke is a great bike, he said.
Yep.
Okay, let me start a new game. We'll count it as I think it's 2-1.
Cool.
So what is a company like you guys? Small company. How many people do you have total that you are involved?
We have 6 people.
So what do you do at a point like this? Because everyone's wondering. Like that's the question. Is like, well, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? I don't know. Like we're trying to figure out day by day and do things. Like what is a small business like you guys? What do you do right now?
Well, what we do right now is we literally talk on the phone for hours and hours and hours every single day. So the other part of our company is we're a little bit protected from some of this because we as a company, we're already a distance-based company. There are myself and one other guy here in Minneapolis. We have one person in Duluth. Well, so it's James and I here in Minneapolis. We have Frank up in Duluth. We have Anders out in Whitefish, Montana. We have Ryan in Bozeman, Montana, and we have Cedar in Mount Hood, Oregon. So, you know, we're already all over. So as far as working remotely, we were already pros at that. We're good, right? So, you know, so as far as operations on a daily basis, we haven't had to maybe do too much figure it out because we were already there. What we have done, because we kind of have the time and things are a little slower overall, is we've said, you know, let's just communicate more and kind of work through that we were putting off before, right? So we've been doing that, and kind of just basically laying a really good groundwork for whenever we can all get out of this stuff, right? So that's been a lot of it. You know, some of those things we've been doing is, I think one of the big things has been kind of a triage of what events are going to get canceled. What's our new logistics plan look like? We're trying to pull events enough and things like that. So and then I guess as far as the business goes, that's kind of the big thing. Nobody knows. And so, you know, one interesting thing is as kind of the business leader, I think I've written about 10 business plans in the last 2 weeks. Right? Like, there's new information coming out from the government every single day surrounding, the economy, how the government plans to help businesses, and things like that. And so every single day there's new guidelines, there's new things to know. It's just kind of crazy. So we're constantly, and then of course, every single day, the outlook as far as how long we're all going to be locked down for, how long this is going to affect the economy, that changes every day too. So literally, like, I've written so many new business plans because trying to say, like, okay, if this happens, we're going to go do this. And then, oh, nope, that's not going to happen, so we'll go do this. And so the most we can do right now is just take it day by day. Definitely in something like this, there's unfortunately a lot of businesses that are going to suffer, because I'd say what we've done, we've probably cut our sales forecast for the year by, I would say, 60%. So, I mean, the one thing that businesses are all going to have to do is realize that this is a year of no profit. Nobody's going to make any money. The question,
I keep saying, like I told you yesterday, I right now, as far as, well, Amy, she has her own business doing she has a bookkeeping business, and she's been helping people do all the, right now it's just triage as far as like getting all stimulus stuff done, right? So they're finishing up financials and doing all that stuff, and then she's helping them do all applications and all that, and she's just one recommendation out of another. She helps somebody else, and they're like, oh, I know 3 other people. So me at this point, like, I've just been saying with all my stuff, like, I'm in the business of goodwill. I think that's like the business here is like, we're all in the goodwill business right now. You just gotta get through what you can, and then come out the other end like good.
Hopefully, right?
And
I know, right? I'm just doing horrible today.
It's hard. I know, but I expected that. It's hard to talk and pay attention to what you're talking about.
Right?
And do this.
Oh, there it is. I just messed that one up. That's done.
Okay, so we have several people on here. It looks like
cool.
Sean Peterson, Isaac Niebling, Odia is on there, so she's probably going to give you a hard time. She's probably staring at you right now over there.
She's over there. She's over there.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Frank is on. Frank is on. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's we'll play another one here. But
we'll play another one.
About,
and I guess
let's talk about Terrene. Go ahead, finish up.
I guess
this is your show, man.
I guess I was saying that with Esker. I think kind of the big things that I think brands want to say out to consumers in a time like this is basically what we're all doing is basically, we got to cut things back. And when you're not going to make profit for a year, the things you cut back are your things you're going to spend that profit on, which is growing for the future. And so I think, what we can essentially tell people on the outside is just, don't, and I think it goes hand in hand with also where the economy is, but, don't expect a huge amount of, new inventions coming out of brands or new products or new models coming out of brands in the next year. Just because as opposed to spending money on growth and coming up with new things, which we all want to do and whatnot, they're hopefully, ones that are run properly, are spending that money on just buckling down, running the business they have, helping their existing customers, keeping their current employees around, and just, keeping it going. So that's what we're doing. And so, I'll say, it's basically what you're going to see out of us because of all this is we just won't get as many new and exciting things to market as fast as we wanted to. So
maybe we can all just take a little bit of time to enjoy all the cool shit that's come out the last few years.
And that's exactly, and I'd say, the one good thing out of all this is we've had, for one is mountain bike consumers constantly complain about evolving standards. This new thing doesn't work with this new thing. And, we've had 10 to 15 years of just crazy mountain bike technology growth. And, it'd be good actually to maybe just slow that down a hair.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want to do this again?
Yeah. Let's
talk. So the other one, people, if you're not familiar, Tim is, I don't know if you've co-owners, whatever. Tim's the owner of Terrene Tires. So Terrene Tires is Terrene. I'm going to just type that in while we're doing it here. The next challenge will be one. Oh dear. Next challenge will be one who can make pivot tables and Excel the quickest.
Right.
Yeah, no.
Well, Isaac's got a good one about events. So before we go into Terrene, let's talk about events just a hair.
Absolutely.
Keep the spread up 6 feet. What about implications of someone getting hurt and then not? Oh, okay. So Isaac's got a good question. It's kind of the common discussion that
right.
is in the cycling crowd in general, but also around events. Like, you know, we're canceling events because we just can't assemble as big groups anymore, and that's we all accept that. But you know, can we go on group rides and can we go riding anyway? And you know, what do we think about that? And then also, what are the implications there about just a few people being close to each other? But also, what are the implications about, you know, cycling is dangerous. We can get hurt, and then go to the hospital, and then take up hospital resources that, you know, or maybe don't need to be taken up, right? So yeah, I think that's kind of that's exactly the question is, and I think that comes down to people's personal responsibility and what their view of the community is, because that's why we canceled Hunger Bear and Schwalmingen 100. It wasn't about the protection from the disease about our individual people, or even necessarily about getting a group of people together at that time, because we don't know if restrictions are lifted about that time. For us, it was about, we hold these events in an area where there's not a very large medical infrastructure in a rural area, and bringing a large group of people doing a risky thing to that area is irresponsible to potentially overloading that system, right? And so that was it. So
we just can't plan on it right now, right? So you could say,
exactly.
End of June, yes, the beds will be open in here in Hayward, for example, right?
Yeah.
But they could be full too. Exactly. And we could still be in a situation where they're recommending 50 people or less, or 25 or less. Then what do? You tell everyone, hey, it's 2 weeks before the event. Sorry. It's just, that's not a good way to do it.
Right.
At this point.
Right. So, I mean, so the whole thing with, like, you know, then like to Isaac's question, people going on group rides, you know, I think it comes down to everyone's got to be really aware of the entire implication of their actions and how they fit into their community and what's going on. So, I mean, like, right now, we'll say in Minneapolis, right now, the hospitals are not being overrun. Minneapolis has a pretty strong medical infrastructure. Going on a bike ride today in Minneapolis, probably not a huge risk or a huge impact to other people. You know, if Minneapolis starts to become New York, or if you live in New York, and the medical infrastructure is already just completely swamped, going on a bicycle ride, probably irresponsible. So I think it comes down to, again, like I was saying when we kind of started this whole thing is really training people to start to think outside themselves, and really be aware of their community and what's going on in their community. And that's going to be an awesome thing for all of us in the future. And I think that's exactly what cyclists need to do right now, is literally on a day-to-day basis, be aware of the situation in their area, be aware of, you know, what impacts they may have to their community, and make the call based on, not that you want to go for a bike ride, but make the call based on what could happen and how does that affect my community. You know, I think that's,
isn't it common? This is the thing I keep running into, common sense wise. If you're going to be putting, so most of us knock out 99% of us.
Yeah.
Right. 1% of people are like base jumping and flying off different things, hucking huge drops and all that stuff. 99% of people, we're not doing that on a day. We're not putting that much risk in our lives, most likely, right? You can extend it and say, what, 3%? I don't know, right? So 95% of us are generally probably not jumping off a cliff, right? So outside of that, my brain thinks, like, common sense wise, do you normally put yourself in a situation that you would be doing what? So, like, what's your risk tolerance usually? Is it that big of a difference between what it would be? Are you going to suddenly go out and do different things than you would now?
Right.
I don't know.
And I think for me,
I can understand that if you're in a really I completely understand. Maybe you take it down a notch.
Yeah.
So, right, instead of going out and ripping around as hard as you can in riding, it would be like going out on a long backcountry ride. So, like here in Hayward, for me, for example, I know that if I go out for an hour ride at Hatchery Creek, like even if something really bad happens, like somebody's going to find me. I'm going to probably be able to get back something, whatever it is. Whereas if I'm out at our Colorado house and I go out for 3-4 hours and like one person knows where I am, even then, like probably not going to see anybody. So you ratchet down just a little bit there, right? I get that.
Yeah.
It's just the complete elimination of anything you're doing that you're probably going a little far. There's somewhere in between at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's definitely ratchet it back because
but from the race perspective though, we can't, as you and I, we can't just say, hey, let's let it rip. It's just we put people in a position that's just not right.
Exactly.
We'll just wait. That's all I can do. Just wait.
Yeah, just wait. And I mean, all of us can probably use a little bit of just chill it out and going for a nice, easy, enjoyable ride, right?
Yeah. Just think about why you're doing that, why you ride to begin with. How's that? Take some time and think about that. All right, you want to play a new game here and then we'll talk some
I'm ready to finally maybe win one.
So I want to say again, you guys, thank you for everybody joining. We've had anywhere from 10 to looks like 20 people on watching. So thank you very much. You always can go back and watch this as well. It'll be linked in Facebook on the Facebook page. And then I will have the ability to download things. So I should be able to put that other places. And Isaac, right now I'm leaning towards canceling my weekly group ride for the foreseeable future. Like I'll still ride, but not encourage others to join me. Trails aren't even open yet. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you're in an area where trails aren't even open yet and you're into like the mountain biking situation and you want to go group rides, just chill out for a couple months and you'll be good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't as if we're really losing anything right now. None of us we're going to be riding mountain bikes on this day, on these trails anyway. So, aside from even all that's going on, you shouldn't be riding the trails right now.
I know it sucks. We all wake up in the morning like, God, this is gonna be over and it sucks. And there's a lot of people legit, like they don't have a job. They don't know where their money's going to come from. They're waiting for stimulus checks to get there because that's the only source of income other than waiting for unemployment. I know it sucks. Like some people have it really shitty right now.
So Alex just chimed in that bike races and group ride races are currently prohibited in Germany. So Alex, do you mean like legally, like it's against the law to do those things in Germany right now? That's pretty interesting.
Well, Germany's doing a pretty, seems like they were pretty on top of testing and I wouldn't expect anything less, honestly.
True,
like
right?
They're a country of engineers. I would expect them to be pretty on things, right?
Yeah.
But it seems like they're testing because I saw all those stories going around of how why is the mortality rate so low in Germany? And my first thought is like they've been testing they probably have exact specifications of the exact test they want with the exact, you know what I mean? So there was better data from the beginning, it seems. I don't know. I'm not a specialist in all this stuff. I'm just making it up.
Yeah, that's exactly when it starts to get to some of the medical stuff. None of that makes any sense to me. I stay away from it.
No, I was just going off of common sense, like observations,
exactly. Yeah.
Is that the important thing I kept telling people is like, deaths are, you never want.
Oh, right.
It sounds bad saying it, but you don't want people to die and like deaths just throwing around the term like, oh, this many people are going to die. Like it's no big deal. It's a big deal.
It is.
But when you confuse what is the proper numerator and what should be the denominator, and then extrapolate from there that like 2 million people are going to die based on the data, the confirmed cases, it's not exactly the whole story.
Right.
So you got to know what the numerator is. And right now we don't know what that is to determine the mortality rate. So it's scary.
Exactly.
Anyway, I didn't mean to get talking about all that, but let's see what Alex has to say. So Terrene tires, talk about Terrene tires, because people, it seems like a lot of, there's a group that knows of you as both, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Some people that are very much Terrene or very much Esker. So talk about what Terrene's all about.
Sure. Well, so I'll definitely say one thing. So because there is people kind of are curious and there is confusion around it. So we have a company, and you're kind of saying, like, as far as I was the owner or whatnot, and I am one of the owners. So first off, our group of 6, all of us are owners of the entity. So I think that's pretty awesome, in that we're not just we're not truly legally a cooperative, but we behave as a cooperative. We all cooperatively make our decisions. We all work together. We all have a stake in our outcomes, and that's pretty awesome. I'm very proud of that. So
I'm going to interrupt you then.
Yeah.
That's a theme in your life at this point that I've known you. Is
Yeah.
like you started previously. I don't know if we want to mention the name of the company, but like,
oh no, you can say Advocate for sure. I mean,
yeah, Advocate. And then you've always kind of had that thing. Why? Is that always been the way you do things? Like, why are you so much like that?
Good
like
question.
Digging back into like history of life, but like, I mean, that's a theme.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the big thing is I like doing. So I think we're all here for cycling because we like cycling. So I like cycling, and I really enjoy that we get to own and operate our own cycling company, and that's the dream of mine. Getting rich is not in any way the dream of mine, right? So, so I guess when I go to attacking a cycling company and trying to figure out a way to do it ourselves, it's not, the motivation is not necessarily getting rich, but the motivation is just that it exists and that we're going to do it. So that's kind of freed up a little bit of thought around structures and how to run it. And I also believe that with that we can get a lot more people involved. And every day, especially as an entrepreneur, every day I learn all the things that I don't know, right? And there's a whole lot of stuff that I don't know. And so as opposed to trying to keep it all for myself, I can get the best people and who are going to help me with all the things that I don't know because they know them. I can get those people to be involved with us and have them. I think also people make incentivizes people to make the best decisions for the entity when they have a vested stake. And so that's more or less the reasons we do it that way. Is then maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong a lot, but I feel it makes for the strongest company that's going to get us the furthest in the end. So that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I derailed that, but I just wanted to make that point known. Sorry, go ahead. So Terrene, keep explaining the setup. I'm doing a terrible job of cutting you off. But.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So so what I was gonna say is, so basically we have a company. It more or less, we'll just say it's a faceless company. We don't market the name or anything like that. And that's the company that we all cooperatively own and work on together. And then that company owns both the brand of Esker cycles and the brand of Terrene tires. So yeah, basically that's where, to answer your question in a very roundabout way, people see me and a few other people doing both Esker cycles and Terrene tires. And we try to run them as separate companies because they both have their own needs and whatnot to run right. And we don't try to even run them as like sister companies. I would say the closest we run to like running them as sister companies is all Esker bikes have Terrene tires on them, and and we have a van that sometimes is going to events on behalf of both companies or something like that. But that's about the extent of how we do them. Otherwise, we try to run them separately because they have separate ways of which they market themselves, talk to customers, all that. So yeah, you'll commonly in all of us. So all of us do both companies. So yeah, you'll talk to me at Esker a lot. You'll talk to Ryan or anybody else. And why is it? Oh, you just beat me.
I just beat you.
Oh, because you. Oh, I get it. So I was going too slow. I didn't fail, but I was still going too slow.
No, we're going to 40. Yeah, we're going to 40.
Yeah.
So we're supposed to say happy birthday to Aaron Valine.
Aaron, happy birthday.
So thanks, Aaron, for joining.
Yeah.
And Eric Alexander says, Tim and Odia, much love to you guys, are the best. So
thanks,
there
Eric.
you go.
Oh, and so, everybody, just to get the word out across the world, Aaron recently suffered the problem of the stolen bike. He had a beautiful green Lorax from our Advocate Cycles days, and it just got stolen. So if anyone sees a green Lorax around, let us, that is in a place that it shouldn't be or something like that. Let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. You want to play another one?
Yeah. Play another one.
Do another one here. So if anybody has any questions, we're going to be, we're not going to keep doing this forever. So if, Gary Crandall is now watching. So hi, Gary. Oh, congratulations to Gary, by the way, for the 365 days of cycling. He transformed significantly over that period. We'll say that. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome following along and seeing him out there and just being, just seeing it. It was fun. So good job, Gary. And happy birthday, by the way. Who else we have watching here? Frank on there. It's a little delayed on the Facebook situation, so you never know what's going on there. So Aaron said thank you. Oh, we have a new game. You ready?
I tried to see if I could beat you.
Perfect.
By surprising you. All right. So on Terrene. So basically where Terrene is it kind of got its start in a little bit of a different way. So Anders, who's our in Whitefish, our partner in Whitefish, he's a mechanical engineer by trade, and he and I worked together at other bike companies in the past. And Anders,
so Tim, in the sports world, people refer to it as the mothership. If they worked at ESPN previously,
yes,
they were referred to it as the mothership. The one you're thinking of, every time somebody says it, I just think in my head, I'm like, so you worked at the mothership.
In fact, quite a few people call it the mothership. Yes.
Yeah, so,
absolutely. Even in our exactly. So we worked for the mothership, and Anders got extremely good at designing some pretty awesome tires. And I worked more in the supply chain side of things and sourcing and development, and I had a pretty good relationship with the factory that makes them for us. And so more or less we kind of we knew, again, kind of along the same lines as Esker, but not really. We knew there's a lot of tires out there. Tires are actually kind of an important thing because they enable entirely what a bike can do, right? Like the only real difference between fat bike, plus bike, and mountain bike is the tires. And then of course the rest of the stuff built around to be capable around the tires, but it's just the tires.
Right.
And so, tires open up a world of what a bike can do. And so, and then on top of that, we saw, there was a whole bunch of opportunities in tires for things that weren't being done. Again, like I said, kind of the same as Esker, product that wasn't being done by the bigger companies because it wasn't, what they needed to do from a financial sense for them, or just their minimum units, or whatever. Right. And so we said, yeah, let's make some pretty cool, unique tires. And so that's more or less what we did, is came to market with Terrene, and kind of the Terrene makes fat bike tires, mountain bike tires, and gravel tires, because those are areas that we're passionate about. And what we do is we try to design things that are a little bit beyond the normal scope of how other bike company or other tire companies make their tires. So, first and foremost, we really try to simplify how we talk about tires, because tires can be extremely confusing, right? Some of our competitors, they'll have 8 different versions of the same tire, of different compounds and different casings with all kinds of trademark names. And even being in the industry, I can't tell you how many times I looked at a SKU list of other tire companies and I was like, I don't know what this is. I don't know which one I need. I don't know what that trademark word even means. I don't know which of those two casings is actually the better one. Better, that kind of stuff. So first thing we did is try to simplify the marketing, and just say we're going to tell our customers what they need. So we only make light and tough. We'll be expanding beyond that a little bit more in the future. But it'll also be very simple in how we explain it and what it does, because we more or less wanted to not confuse customers. So right now with light and tough, it's just that's exactly all you have to pick. We do all the engineering and development behind getting the proper rubber compounds. We do, and all you need to pick is whether you need a lightweight tire, which is a real high-end super light casing, for both ride quality and weight reduction, or whether you need a reinforced tough tire, because you're cutting tires, abusing tires, whatever, for your riding style. And then basically what we say is, as opposed to telling you need to pick which compound you want, or which mixture of casing you want, we do all the engineering and testing. And so it would, like, for instance, within our tough tires, all of our tough tires are not the same, and all of our light tires are not the same. So that means, like, if a tough gravel tire and a tough mountain tire and a tough fat bike tire, the casings are not the same between all of them. So what other companies do is they say, this is our blah blah whatever casing, and
so Maxxis has like 8 different abbreviations for whatever casing it is.
Yeah, right. So using them as an example, they have EXO casing, right? And EXO is a trademarked name they use for a material, and you can basically buy any of their tires with that protection material in it. As opposed to kind of saying that and letting customers pick that or try to figure that out, we go ahead and do that already based on the use and the type of that tire. So that's where I say, like, a tough mountain tire and a tough gravel tire and a tough fat bike tire, they don't have the same materials inside of them. They may have the same base materials, they may not. They may have similar compounds, they may not. It's not about saying, like, this is our technology and boom, here it is in a tire. It's about, we look at every single tire and say, here's all the technologies available to us, and basically we've already determined the proper one for that use case. So yeah, that's what you can get from us, is knowing that, as opposed to having to try and sit there and figure it out and maybe make the wrong choice or something like that. We've already kind of looked at how that bike is used and abused, and hopefully made the best choice for you.
Is that something that you, listeners, followers, people watching this, if you have any questions, shoot them out there, because we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon. But do you think part of this situation we're in, that who knows economically when we come out of this, but do you think part of it is that we are a little better off as consumers, in that we don't have a million choices? Now we only have like 500,000 choices. You know what I mean? The paralysis by analysis is off the charts right now, because there's so many different options, so of everything. Do you think that's part of it?
Totally. In fact, you're going to see, with this any contraction in the economy, what you're going to see here is the companies that stick around are going to both be reducing product development.
Like you mentioned before, the bikes just aren't going to be there. Yeah,
and also just reducing their inventory. So working on reducing their SKU count, or things like that. Basically, working on just making their existing company more efficient. And then the other side is, unfortunately, there will be some companies that go out of business and disappear. And so, one thing we're going to see out of this is both good and bad, depending on how you look at it. We're going to see less choice for a couple years ahead of us, and that can help. That can definitely help in some ways, like you said, less paralysis by analysis. But then, and also maybe a little bit, less new things. But in my opinion, the mountain bike industry has probably gone a little too fast in the last decade. Whoops!
Oh my gosh!
I just bottomed one out. on
Yeah,
accident.
because just riding, for example, just riding along for the longest time, the questions that come in are more related to like, there's so many choices, I don't know what to do,
Right?
as opposed to, hey, I just got started in doing this and I don't even know where to start. Can you help me? It's like I have 18 choices and I don't even know what to do. Where do I start? Like, what
Right.
do I do? And that just,
Oh,
when you sit back and look at it, it's just, holy man, it's true.
oh yeah, totally.
I mean, I started bow hunting a few years ago, and you start looking around at just options of just compound bows and the different things. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't know where to start. And then just because there was so many options, and
Right.
then I mean, from the consumer's perspective, it just seems like you said, people are going to be clearing out inventory, so you'll get some deals probably,
Oh yeah.
um, and things will be a little bit cheaper. There'll be a few less choices, probably a lot less choices, but the stuff that's out there is pretty dang good.
Oh yeah,
So,
and that's it. Like, you know, it's I don't think it may be, you know, sure, might not be perfect, but you know, no one's gonna suffer because of it. I mean, there's uh there's so many good mountain bikes, and that's kind of the thing we've been saying in Esker, is in today's market. One of the reasons we're not just telling the world that our bike is better than everybody else's is because, um, quite honestly, it's not. And what I mean by that is, there are so many good mountain bikes out there now. Pretty much almost all mountain bikes on the market now are really, really good. And so our bike is better for some people. And we'll be honest and say, you know, there's other people that maybe other bikes that are not ours might be better for.
mhm.
And really, the only way you can tell that is by riding it. So that's why, you know, we do demos as our primary marketing, and we want people to ride our bike as opposed to just tell them it's better, right? Um, but that's the thing. It's like that's why kind of demos are becoming more popular for buying bikes and things like that, because you can't you can't really make a bad choice in a mountain bike today. What you can do is really ride a lot of mountain bikes and find the one that, oh, you beat me again, and find the one that's, you know,
we can
perfect for
we can do
your
we can
riding
do one
style.
more.
Okay,
Yeah,
good, because I just need to lose again. Um,
that's fine.
um, you know,
We'll do
there's
one more because I just asked a question.
yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, there's so many good mountain bikes out there. Every single rider should be able to basically ride a whole bunch of bikes, and you're not going to buy a bad bike, but through demos, you can definitely find the best bike for you and your riding style. And so that's where, like, you know, I don't think nobody's going to make a bad choice and buy a bad bike anymore. Um, but through all these demos and cool stuff like that, you can definitely um, hone in and buy the best bike for your riding style. And there's definitely a segment that we feel um, we make the best bike for a certain segment of riders. And so, yeah, we just through riding,
The other
we just need
thing
to
we
find
can,
those.
yeah,
Right.
the other thing we could
Yeah.
probably bet through this process is that customer service and the willingness for companies to go out of their way for your business will significantly improve and increase.
Yeah, that's what's going to win. I'd say in the next year, the company that wins in the next year is not the company that's going to come out with any new whiz bang product in the next 12 months because, well, nobody has money to buy the new whiz bang product anyway. The companies that win this year are going to be the ones that do a really good job of taking care of their existing customers and any potential new customers that may come along for them. Um, and you know, does basically takes care of them and develops loyal customers that way.
Yeah. And that was kind of my whole point with this thing is like people get a chance to see you filling up your board with Tetris while
Oh
you're
my
trying
god!
to talk when you're trying to like talk about your companies.
Right?
So I like I said earlier, like if you can't appreciate something like this, I'm not really sure what you want. But um, so Isaac asked, speaking of options, what are you riding next and why? So for me, I'll answer that. For me, it's become
Yeah.
very much with having the kids in our business situation and the having this rentals and all the stuff we have going on. It's become very much like very focused, like maybe an 1 hour hard ride on just the local trails. I'm pretty lucky. Like you said earlier, just here, I can just go down the street and have the trails. So for me, I just ride down the street right down that way a few miles and I'm on some trails right there. I have some trails right behind the house. So for me, it's become very much just doing what I can. There's not even any races that was even thinking of at this point. I was kind of thinking about one that later in the summer that the Wolf, it's a triathlon. It's you paddle a couple miles and you mountain bike like 14 or 15 miles and you run like 3 miles or something. But even that, I don't really like. The only event I signed up for was a trail run. So for me, the riding aspect is like if I get an hour hard or 2 hours or 3 hours on a longer day and just go hard as I can, that's where I'm at right now. And it's important for me to just keep doing what I can. So right now I have a 3-year-old giant XTC advanced hardtail that I've been riding. Yeah, it's been this will be the 3rd season on that. And then I have one of those white Pugsleys that I ride.
Nice.
Just for fun. I ride that quite a bit actually, because it's a tank. So it's a good workout. It's kind of fun. It's hard to be fast on that. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but yeah, I'm kind of the wrong person. I'm probably going to end up putting more time into, like, my extra time becomes very much, especially with this opportunity of what's all going on right now. Instead of going out for like an hour ride, it's very much, I'm going to spend an hour on mountain bike radio stuff. Now is not the time to invest time on the bike. Now is the time to invest time into what you have going on more than ever. So,
right.
I mean, either you make this period an opportunity, or you just sit around and hang out and hope everything works out. And I'm not into it for that. So,
right,
just that's not the way to do it. It's this. You only get these type of opportunities a few times, and if you don't take advantage of it, then whether it's learning something or putting time into what your job is or anything like that, I feel like I'd be missing out. So riding is just kind of taking a back seat to, right now I just get out for a half an hour, 45 minutes or an hour run, and I get in a lot of work that way, and it's quick. And anyway, that's my rant. What about you, Tim? What's your situation?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do this year is get my gravel bike going a lot more. So, I am primarily a mountain biker. That's where my passion is, and that's what I like to do. And so the last couple of years, as things have been, just going for mountain bike trails all over the world and mountain bike technology and everything else, I've pretty much only ridden mountain bikes and done a few gravel rides here and there, but that's about it. But I really, I think with the year of riding alone, we'll call it, I think gravel riding is a good way to do, because then you don't need to go to a trailhead and potentially cause clog up a trailhead or run into people or anything like that. Oh man, I just bottomed something out. And
it's so funny watching. It's so funny watching what's going on because I don't have to do a lot of talking, so I'm just kind of listening, watching for questions, watching what's going on the thing, and then so it's funny. Sorry, go on.
But yeah, so I basically I'm getting my gravel bike together, and I'm gonna probably do a lot more rides like that as far as ways to get outside and do something. So, and hopefully once some of the restrictions end and whatnot, then probably do some more mountain biking. But I definitely, here in the city, we're seeing a big issue with what was it? I think it was Battle Creek opened a little bit last Friday, and also on the weekend. We're telling everybody to stay home and whatnot, and yet the trailhead over there is full, right? And again, that's probably not the wisest choice. So I'm just not gonna make that situation worse.
Right. Aaron said gravel is great social distancing.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. think that's why you see it becoming, I mean, it's become very popular, obviously, for many of us that are kind of in it the last few years. But I think this last year and this year has taken like the major jump in terms of like mainstream
Right.
type of
And I mean,
situation.
and I'll be honest, like actually, riding for me has always been an individual sport. I actually got into mountain biking and riding because I'm more of an individual sport person. Team sports were never interesting to me, not really my thing. And riding something you can do individually. And so, where I definitely enjoy taking a mountain bike vacation with friends and doing it once in a while. Overall, if I just want to go for a ride, a random ride during the week or whatnot, I prefer to ride alone anyway. So it's actually that's not really a big hit for me.
So when I think about that, there's like the team sports versus individual sports. There was this quote, when Kobe Bryant died, whatever, earlier this year, and Shaq was talking. They did an interview with Shaq, and he was telling a story about Kobe, and one of his teammates said something to Shaq like, "Hey, dude, Kobe's not passing, like he's not doing this." So Shaq went to him and said, he's like, "Dude, there's no I in team, right?" And he's like, "Yeah, but there's a me in that motherfucker." So when I think of like doing it yourself and going off, that's like, I always think about that quote. It's like, sometimes there's a time for, sometimes there's just, oh, did you beat me?
Holy shit, I won.
Yeah.
Cool.
See,
So
you won.
There we go. But you still beat me in the overall, so that's good.
Yeah, I know. but my point is, sometimes there's a point of, that's just like, sometimes there's a time to do it by yourself, and sometimes there's go hang out in a group, and this is the time where you just go do it yourself.
Exactly.
So, all right. Does anybody have any last questions? And if you don't, what we're going to do is Tim and I are setting up, we're going to do a little series on of podcasts for Mountain Bike Radio, and we're going to get as many people as we can in the whole gang of 6 to just get on and talk about why they're in it, what they like about working with you guys and being part of the team, and just get their perspective on how it's going right now, what their thoughts are, just to give an idea of what the company's all about, and go from there. So it'll be a nice little player. What you can expect, people, is we're going to put together this little series. So whether it's 4 conversations, 5 conversations, 8, or Tim and I are on for 2 hours talking about stuff, plus all these other people. But we'll get a nice little player. You'll be able to download the app, type in Terrene or Esker, and it'll pull it all up. We'll put something on probably on your website or something. You can have a little player. So my whole goal, Tim, we talked about this yesterday, but the whole goal for this is I really want to step back and like highlight what you guys have going, what everybody in your situation, we're all in the same situation, but kind of highlight who these people are instead of always product. We can go, we all do it. We go to Pink Bike and Bike Rumor and all that kind of stuff. And it's always like, it's very much product, or very much like what this high level person's racing downhill on this and what they think. And we tend to miss out on all the underlying people. And I really want to highlight that and give people an opportunity. I was thinking about it last night too, or this morning. It's all the same at this point. I don't even know if it's Friday or Monday. My kids ask me, and they're like, guess what day it is. They're like, Wednesday. I'm like, no, it's not. But the other part of that, I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, just like, I think, like you said, that's kind of what we want to do, is like, personifying a company, right? If you talk about, why would people want to, aside from the product, but why would people want to work with Esker over one of the big 4, right? And some people, definitely it's important to some people, but it's not to others, and that's fine. But the fact of the matter is, with this, you can talk to us,
Yeah.
So,
and another thing I think I'm going to do with Mountain Bike Radio in general at this point is I'm just going to set up a show that's going to be advertised. So, hey, I'm giving you airtime. I want you to advertise. Show me what you got, or talk to me what you have.
Right.
And just make a series out of that and say, you know what? Previously, all we did was like, I've been racking my brain of the whole pay for reviews type of thing. And I'm just going to say, screw it. You have free airtime. Talk to me. What do you got? And just And if people can read between the lines. If they don't come on and talk about their thing, well, and if they do, then you know what? Good. So Porter, Esker, and Terrene are definitely made up of a bunch of great people. So there you go.
Thanks, Porter.
Thanks for watching, Porter. All right, guys. If Tim, is there anything else you want to leave with? Let people know.
No, that's awesome. No, thanks for your time, Ben. Glad everyone joined in, and we proved that you are better than me at Tetris.
That's well, it's you're very much handicapped. Let's put it that way. When you're talking about it is because you're like working at Tetris half speed when you're trying to talk. So it's like what I should do is develop a handicap for myself and say, you know, I start with half a board or something. well, I'll work on that. But yeah, so we did. This is 80 minutes of time. So thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Thank you.
And so thank you, everyone. It's a good test run. Good first one. So thanks for being that person. But all right. See ya.
Have a good one, everyone.
Okay. Bye.